It's a goal! Can you believe it? It's extraordinary.
Tonight we put the heat on some Port Adelaide players and their performance in Perth in the last quarter on Saturday. Crows sitting pretty at the bye and the last inductee into Blighty's Hall of Fame. Just a massive Footy SA coming up now. Good evening and welcome to a jam-packed edition of Footy SA right here on Channel 9. Fair bit to get through, so we'll get straight into it with our co-host Bernie Vince, the Crows legend. Bernie?
Good to be here again, Kane. Good weekend. It seems a long time ago, though.
It wasn't that good a weekend.
Yeah, it wasn't on the weekend. It was Thursday night. Sorry, mate. You've got me on a technicality there, but good win by the Crows.
It was, and they're sitting pretty at the bye. We'll look at that very, very shortly. But let's kick off the show with our Kia big moments from the weekend. It's all thanks to the V6 twin-turbo Kia Stinger. It is the West Australian car of the year. Port Adelaide's rucks, they had the opportunity to double team a young, inexperienced ruckman called Sean Darcy, but in the last quarter, they were smashed, Bernie. Clearances 13-5. Contested ball, they were beaten, and Paddy Ryder and Scott Lysett got touched up by an 18-game player.
Yeah, it was a big surprise, wasn't it? Because we mentioned about how they could get or gain ascendancy in the rucks, having two rucks and against a young ruckman, and it worked quite the opposite. So they'd be really disappointed. But you picked this. You picked this in your article Friday. I read it, and then I thought you wrote it after the game, but looking back, it was pre-game.
Yeah, I just think the one player that had to step up, who I think's had a very quiet year, is Paddy Ryder for Port Adelaide to make a push towards the finals. And I put it on him a bit on Friday. He's just averaging the 9 disposals and 2.5 marks a game this year, Bernie, and he could only manage 7 again on the weekend. He kicked the first 2 goals for Port Adelaide. I thought,
what is your photo? Sorry to cut you off. Your photo is horrific in the paper.
Here we go.
Here we terrible. Go. Are you wearing a wig?
Geez, you're hard on me.
Can we get that back up?
Geez, you're hard on me. Come to talk the hard-hitting.
I can't believe I haven't noticed that when I read the article.
In the middle of talking hard-hitting footy topics and you want to talk haircuts.
Well, sorry, I haven't had the best haircuts over the time, but that one did grab my eye.
Well,
sorry.
Yeah, Paddy Ryder was quiet, and we'll save that sort of stuff for the Kia Top 7 coming up very shortly. Kia moment, big Kia moment number 2, you put me off here, Bernie, is Tom Jonas. He was knocked out. I thought, well, it looked to be cold, but he continued on. We're just having a look at it here, and there's different angles of this. You can see it there, the replay of the vision. He gets cleaned up by his own teammate, Friendly Flyer. He looks out cold. He goes down. We're going to switch to behind the goals here, and you can see the trainers come out. But as footy players often do, he brushed them off. What should have happened here?
Well, clearly he's had a head knock, and clearly there's protocols you have to go through, and I'm sure they must have gone through them all because you can't go against the rules. But you can see that he can't run. His legs are wobbly. So he's in trouble. And I thought when a player is shown to have symptoms like that, that's it for him.
I feel for the doctors because they've run out. They haven't had the benefit of having a look at the vision like we have in replay and slow motion. And you got the captain of the club saying, nah, I'm all good. Now, this is a couple of minutes later. Doc Fisher comes out and just checks him again. Tom Jonas went on Kimbo on the Rooch on SEN SA this afternoon, and this is what he says. I felt pretty good to continue. I was pretty confident. I could see fine. When I was with the docs, they ran me through all the protocols, and I got 16 out of 16. So I'm sure the AFL will look at it, but Tom Jonas says he's fine. I guess you take him as his word.
They asked 16 questions in that little 10-second period, did they?
On the ground. It was about a 2-minute period, but they weren't with him for that 2 minutes. So.
That's bizarre. Maybe we could set this up for next week. You could ask me 16 questions and see if I can answer.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's go back to Thursday night because it was a pretty strong performance from Adelaide. It wasn't without the odd scare. Richmond came out and were on fire early, kicking the first 3 goals. But this man, he spent 5 weeks in the SANFL. We've spoken about him pretty much every week.
Yep.
He was on fire, Josh Jenkins.
Certainly was, and he's got his mojo back. The thing I liked about him, yes, loved the 4 goals, but he was running around, and him and Tex... Swagger, knocking blokes over, was physical, using that big, 110-kilo body of his the way he should be. And I think, we said we don't pick him until he's ready to come back into this team, and Adelaide did that, and now they're benefiting from it. So well done to Adelaide for leaving him in the twos for that long. Came in. Unfortunately now, he's hurt his knee, but it did, to be honest, looked a lot worse than what it actually ended up being. But, yeah, well done to Adelaide for that.
We'll wait and see who the replacement is. As we said, the bye is going to come at the good time. They play Adelaide, Geelong, and then they play a showdown. So the next 2 weeks, we're going to find out a bit about Adelaide. Geelong's away, of course, but then I think the draw completely opens up for them. They've got St Kilda again, Gold Coast, Carlton. I think they'll make the top 4 from here.
Yeah, well, they'd be really disappointed not to from here. Yeah, big. They can't look any. I know that's the old saying. You can't look any further than these next 2 weeks. They are huge weeks for Adelaide for where they're going to finish because, as you said, they've got a nice little run home, but these 2 weeks can really set them up.
And a key reason why someone rolling through the midfield, Brad Crouch, leads the competition in disposals again, 43 on Thursday night. You've been all over him all year. You're pretty impressed.
Very impressed by this man. I like how he hits the scoreboard too and just keeps finding footy. Him and his brother, I don't know, they must, in the backyard, who would have got the footy the most? Their poor footy would have been worn out. They just find it, don't they? But especially Brad, I just feel like he's having a big influence on Adelaide games and, as I said, hitting the scoreboard. Can he win the Brownlow? I feel like he's had a big enough influence on games, especially the ones that they've won, that he would be getting 3 votes regularly. I think he's sneaking under the radar.
Well, if you lead the competition in disposals, like Tom Mitchell for Hawthorn did last year, you're always under the nose of the umpires. They check the stats after the game. And
they do. They say they don't, but they definitely do.
I reckon he's a proven vote getter as well, so that would be massive. Let's take a look at his numbers. Brad Crouch, he's first in the competition for total disposals. He's 6th for contested. He's 8th for stoppage clearances and 12th for contested possessions. Not sure how you can be 6th and also 12th in contested possessions, but we'll work that out later. What I can tell you is having a great year, Bernie, as are you at the Plasma for the Kia Top 7. Kia, home to Australia's best 7-year warranty. How are we looking this week?
So is he 8th or 12th?
I don't know.
I don't know there, but he's having a great year. He can win. Now, Kane, I can promise you, you're not number 1
No,
this
I don't
week.
believe you.
You're not number 1.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
you can believe me because you're not number 1. I've got a real special number 1 today. Don't worry about that. And I can't wait to get to it. But I've got to start at 7. Here we go. The big Hoff kicked his 300th goal.
Yes.
Now, that is an unbelievable effort for someone. Oh, look at that one too. Special 300 too from the pocket. Well done. But not as good as Joel the Burger Fitzgerald.
22.
He plays for Kimber. Just go to lazy 22 to get him over the 1,000th goal mark. Have a look at him. Pretty happy with it too.
They call him the Burger.
On.
Yep, his kids
Kimber, good spot over there, Kimber too. What about this too? Geez, they're quick to jump off. They lose one game. You know what? I think they've just neatly put that in there. Haven't let it touch it over. That's a setup. But what about this? I live with this man.
Your mate.
This is what he used to do around the house. Look at this. And this would be me. This is me with it. Look. He's still done. I thought I taught him better than that, but no. I like this. This is in the SANFL game. Port versus North, huge rivalry. Look at him.
Kisses.
I like that.
Where's
I love
kiss?
Dixon. And the kiss. He used to do a bit of that. I do like that, interacting with the crowd. It's nice. He's going well too. And this, you're number 2. This is what players are doing now, and it's because of you. Don't worry about us, man. It's you.
I'm the trendsetter.
Right, now, I've saved a real special number 1 here. Have a look at this from the weekend. Saturday afternoon, down at Warragul. Have a look at that for a shot on goal.
Who is that man?
There's a man. That is me.
Oh, you're kidding.
He marked from
39.
50, runs around. Yeah, Warwick Kappa. That's me. Warwick Kappa took a view. Yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah, that is how you kick set shots, ladies and gentlemen.
Did you just blow the kisses?
No, I was copying a lot from the boundary, right in front of the boozer too, and I just turned around and thought, no, I'll leave it.
How many did you kick?
2.
2.
Yeah,
Possessions?
40.
40.
40 and 2.
Still should be playing. Massive show to come. We're a bit more humble than our co-host Bernie Vince when we return, but we'll look at the Crows, Port Adelaide, and what went on in the last quarter of the nightmare in Perth. Thanks for joining us on Footy SA tonight. 3/4 time in Perth on Saturday. Port Adelaide are up by 3 points. From then on, it was a complete disaster, an embarrassing last quarter performance from Port Adelaide. Let's take a look at the numbers in that game. Disposals 118 to 79. Contested possessions, they got smashed 51 to 26. Clearances, would you believe, 15-3. Inside 50s 20-5. And 3 goals 4 to no score from Port Adelaide. So let's look at the vision and the key moments that let Port Adelaide down on Saturday in the last quarter when they didn't stand up. I want to start here. Let's highlight Motlop and Hill. Have a look at the lack of defensive accountability from Motlop as Walters marks this ball here. Keep your eyes on Motlop and Hill. Motlop lets him go. Easy uncontested mark inside 50. Start of the last quarter. That's what started it going. This one here, look at the time, look at the score. 2 points down, simple uncontested mark inside 50. Young Farrell drops it. The hottest man in the competition right now is Michael Walters. Port Adelaide let him come up to stoppage. No one on him, and he wins another clearance. That's why it was 15-3 at the stoppages on Saturday in the last quarter. Right, big moments, centre bounces, crucial. Look at the score. The captain, former captain Travis Boak on Conker. Conker, inexperienced player, gets the better of him. Again here, this is Mundy up against Boak. Pivotal time, centre bounce, too tough Mundy. He wins the clearance. Fremantle away again. Fremantle's forward line. Who is on Matera in Fremantle's forward line? This is their forward line. No one goes to him. Easy uncontested mark. Goal to Fremantle. Some critical examples of how Port Adelaide let themselves down in the last quarter. Game, season on the line on Saturday. Michael Voss joined SEN SA Breakfast this morning to have a talk about some of those key moments in the last quarter on Saturday.
You know, it's the execution in the big moments that you need to be able to get done. You know, there was some little things throughout the game, whether that's free kicks. You know, we can't ignore that. Yeah, certainly the execution in the end. You know, we talked a little bit about the ground ball, but, you know, we also need to have composure with the ball in our hands and use it all the way through and to give ourselves a shot at scoring.
Michael Voss there, Bernie, they were so good for 3 quarters. The game, you couldn't split the teams at 3-quarter time. Port Adelaide ahead slightly. And then that happens. Yeah. I mean, how does it happen? Take us through the player's perspective of what goes on there.
Well, pressure and fatigue get to you, don't they, in the key moments? You can't let that happen, can you? If you're going to be a good team, you need to stand up in the big moments, and they just couldn't do it.
Says to me that they're probably just not quite ready, Port Adelaide, to play finals this year. We'll wait and see. 7 games at home and another big test Saturday night against Geelong, which we will talk about. Now, one of the real positives out of Saturday was Hamish Hartlett's return out after 420 days on the sidelines, 23 disposals. He was terrific, inspirational.
Oh, I loved it. It was just good to see him get through unscathed for starters, but for him to have an effort like he did and some real crucial, you see a good tackle there, some really key one-on-one battles he won. He was physical, and I think we've sort of forgotten how good Hamish Hartlett is because he's been out for so long, but it was great to see him back, and yeah, he's a leader for a reason.
This one here, we're going to show this one in the last quarter. This attack on the ball, inspirational from Hamish Hartlett. He's out with a knee, bang, straight through. Does not worry about himself or his body, and it's a credit to the work he's done in rehab and how fit he has kept himself. So hopefully he holds together and we see the best of him.
That contest there, that's what Port Adelaide needs, and that was in the last quarter, start of the last quarter. They should have grabbed inspiration from that, from a guy that's been out for so long, but couldn't do it.
Let's take a look at those votes, all thanks to Repco Authorised Service Centre, your local mechanic with the nationwide backing of Repco. Book your next car service at repcoservice.com.
Oh no, he's done it again.
Just the 3. Just the 3. And it was Boak v Fife. I actually thought Fife got the better of Travis Boak, but once again, he was very, very good. Hartlett, that man. I thought Burton across half-back was one of his better games for the club. So there's the votes. Bernie will give us his Crows players. I think all 5 will feature.
Well, they had a good game, Kane, and that's what happens when you win games and play well for 3 quarters at least. You could have probably had someone else in there, but
well, this guy played well more often than not. It's time to find out who is the last inductee into Malcolm Blight's Hall of Fame. We're doing it all thanks to Amy. Lucky you're with Amy, and lucky you're in Blighty's Hall of Fame.
I met Nathan Buckley when he was just a baby. We were babysitting for his parents, Ray and Karen Buckley. Ray was a teammate of mine at Woodville. I even had my Bucks night at Ray Buckley's place. He lived right near the Woodville Oval. The Buckleys moved away from Woodville and moved to Darwin. Nathan obviously moved with them and started his football playing days in Darwin. A few years later, when I was coaching Geelong, we went up to play a practice game against the Northern Territory team. And of course, a very young Nathan was playing in it. They moved back to Adelaide and he obviously played for Port Adelaide in a premiership team and also won the McGarry Medal. At the end of the 1992 season in the AFL, I was coaching Geelong and we'd just been beaten in the grand final. But I came back to Adelaide for the grand final here between Port Adelaide and Glenelg. Nathan Buckley, who'd won the Magarey medal, won the Jack Oatey medal for best on ground in a thumping win by Port Adelaide. Every club was after Nathan to play for them, including the club I was at, Geelong. So was North Melbourne, and so was a club called Collingwood. According to all those that observed, Nathan Buckley brought professionalism to a new standard within the AFL. His attention to everything football was as good as anyone had ever seen. Nathan had sublime skills, a beautiful kick, actually a very good high mark, and a great decision maker on the ground. Nathan finally got to play in a grand final and won the Norm Smith medal. Sadly, his team didn't win, but he also added the Brownlow medal to his repertoire. It's wonderful to see Nathan's transition from player to coach, and of recent times starting to have some success. Nathan Buckley, welcome to Blighty's Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, that completes our list of 13 out-and-out champions. There are a number that have missed out, but not everyone can be a legend.
Geez, there'd be some flat footballers out there right now, but Nathan Buckley, what an absolute star he was. Now, if you want to get on along to the ultimate night with Blighty's Hall of Fame, you can see the 13 inductees there. It's going to be on Thursday, the 18th of July, Adelaide Oval. For your chance to win, just head along to Sports SA website or Facebook page and tell us why Malcolm Blight should invite you. What a list of superstar it is there. Coming up next, Bernie Vince has his OTR takeaways back at the Plasma, where he just loves it. Can't keep him away from the Plasma. Hope you're enjoying the show tonight. We're doing it all thanks to Kia, home to Australia's best 7-year warranty, and OTR, who are making life easy. Speaking of which, Bernie Vince is at the Plasma for the OTR takeaway. Kick goals and tackle life problems close to the siren with OTR and their 24-hour convenience. What do you want to look at this week, Bern?
We'll look at some Crow big moments. Now, there's a number of examples of these, but I just want to touch on a couple that stood out to me. So here we go. We got here, pause here. We got Riley O'Brien down the line here. So he's just doing the team thing. Unfortunately, comes off the side of Kelly's boot. Blamed it on oil, by the way, which is a bizarre thing. But next thing, bang, the ball comes in quickly. Look who's down the line. O'Brien again, marks it. Work rate, just doing team things, gelling well as a team at the moment. I like this here too from Atkins. This is playing to win, taking the game on. This is why they're scoring so well. Quick ball movement inside, and this, what about this mark from Sloane on the night? Unbelievable mark, but that was set up from that risky kick, or educated risk, you call that, inside from Atkins. Now this one's team defence. Now have a look at this. They're out here, Richmond are out. And I know they're aided by a little drop mark here from Rioli on the wing, but have a look at them push back. They're pushing back here, all the Adelaide numbers. So they go sideways. They could go forward again if they had the opportunity, but no, they've pushed back. The numbers are back here, back again, sideways, slow, and now they get the ball back and can get back inside 50. So I just think they're playing well as a team now, starting to gel. Good teams have good team defence, and they're doing that really well at the moment.
Well, that reminded me of the 2017 Crows. Exactly that. Such a well-rounded side, winning the ball in the contested situations around the ball, but also playing for each other. So very, very good vision there. Time now to look at the best players and how Bernie Vince saw it for the Repco Authorised Service Centre, your local mechanic with the nationwide backing of Repco. Book your next car service at repcoservice.com. And Brad Crouch again. I reckon he might be shooting to the top of the leaderboard. O'Brien's been great. Jenkins, Sloane and your mate Tex was good as well.
I said Brad Crouch, he can win the Brownlow. He's the smoky I feel at the moment. But yeah, 43 possessions, how can you go past him? Jenkins, 4 goals is really good. Sloane, 28 and 2 goals. And my man Tex just got it in there with 1 vote, so he was good as well.
He was really good, and Brad Crouch is going to take some beating, as is this man, Nathan Brown, for Sportsbet. If your team goes up in AFL matches Friday and Saturday, 12 up, you'll pay out as a winner thanks to Sportsbet, Brownie.
Thanks very much, Kane. We've got a massive game for Port Adelaide on Saturday night up against the Cats. Now, the Cats have beaten them the last 3 times they've gone to the Adelaide Oval, so they've got really good form over there. But the Cats are coming off the bye. They've lost their last 7 after the bye. So it is a big, big stat, one the Cats have to overcome. As we have, look at the big win, little win market, pretty easy there, but you're getting big odds for Port Adelaide. The line here is interesting, 14.5. I'm not sure which way this will go, but a 14.5 point head start. A lot of people are still going to be taking the Cats at 14.5, having won over there this year. They're going pretty well. As we roll through the premiership, and the Cats didn't play on the weekend, but they've gone from 350 to 310. GWS have firmed from 8s to 550, and Adelaide, they were 34 about 5 weeks ago. So big money coming in for Adelaide at the moment in the top 4. And then as we roll on to the Brownlow medal market, Paddy Cripps would not have voted. Tim Kelly Dangerfield didn't play, but Boak, and that man you spoke about, $41. He'll be coming very, very hard. Definitely got the 3 on the weekend. The Coleman medal, it's tightening up here. Ben Brown's only 1 behind Tommy Hawkins, but you get an extra $5 just about. Jeremy Cameron is 5 ahead of those 2. Then you got Eddie Betts. I thought I'd throw Charlie Cameron in there just for giggles, you know. Charlie, get back there and kick a few, son. Good luck if you're punting. I don't think I've got any more, have I? Gamble responsibly.
Well done, Brownie. The shirt a bit tight today and interesting.
Yeah, it went through the wash and the dryer, and it did go a bit tight.
And can we just pan down on the shoes as well? You've got some interesting looking gum boots as well on him that you're sporting. So very nice fashion from Nathan Brown. As always, big show still to come. Stick around, plenty more coming your way on Footy SA. You're watching Footy SA for Kia, home to Australia's best 7-year warranty and OTR. Kick goals and tackle life problems close to the siren with their 24-hour convenience. Time now to look at the Balfour's Sandful update. Bernie, some big results, particularly if you're a Port Adelaide fan. They got the better of Norwood with the traditional rivalry. 5,000 there at Alberton, and a couple of names that we know well were starring.
Yeah, big win, because Norwood are the premier team in that comp. But Wine's 38 possessions was noticeable. Sutcliffe, 4 goals.
Kicked 4, yep.
Is he a chance to play?
He's on the list now. Yeah, some players under pressure, and Wine's come straight back in. The other one, Dixon, as well. So 8 goals in the last 2 weeks for that man, Charlie Dixon, who was in good form. And there's Ollie Wines. But you'd think those 2 back in for Saturday night's game against Geelong.
So Dixon straight back, you reckon?
Yep. 2 straight back. Yep. Take a look at that. That's the Balfour's Take a Specky promotion. It's on now. Share your perfect footy moment at balfours.com.au and get involved. That was the Balfour's Specky promotion competition. Get involved in the show as well. If you missed anything, download the SEN app and have a look at that. Next week, Port Adelaide play Geelong. Bernie Vince, can I please have a tip?
Geelong. Too good.
Unfortunately,
I think they're too good.
Geelong will be too good. We'll tell you all about it next Monday night on Footy SA.